chairman.
आजच्या आपल्या या शॉर्ट टर्म सर्टिफिकेट कोर्सच्या सेकंड सेशनची सुरुवात आपण करत आहोत. वेलकम टू ऑल ऑफ यू इन आवर सेकंड सेशन ऑफ इंग्लिश कम्युनिकेशन स्किल्स इन्फ्लुएन्सिंग पीपल. आपलं हे सेशन आपल्याच महाविद्यालयाचे प्राचार्य प्रिन्सिपल डॉक्टर राजेश लाटणे सर कंटिन्यू करणार आहेत. त्यांची ओळख करून देताना मी फक्त एवढंच म्हणेन की सरांकडे दीर्घ असा शैक्षणिक क्षेत्रातला अनुभव, त्याचप्रमाणे आपल्या महाविद्यालयात 2009 पासून सरांनी प्राचार्य पदाचा कार्यभार सांभाळलेला आहे. त्याचप्रमाणे ते PhD चे रिसर्च गाईड म्हणून सुद्धा कार्यरत आहेत. त्यांच्या मार्गदर्शनाखाली आपले कालचे रिसोर्स पर्सन प्रोफेसर शिवाजी शेळके, गणेश सोनवणे यांनी PhD पूर्ण केलेले आहेत. तर संदीप ढोरे हे सरांच्या मार्गदर्शनाखाली काम करत आहेत. सरांनी नॅशनल आणि इंटरनॅशनल जर्नल्स मध्ये पेपर पब्लिश केलेले आहे. सेट एक्झाम क्वालिफाईड आहेत, PhD कंप्लीट केलेली आहे. आपल्याच महाविद्यालयाचे प्राचार्य आपल्याला आज एक वेगळ्या अँगल मधून आपल्याशी बोलणार आहेत. मी महाविद्यालयाच्या वतीनं सरांचं स्वागत करते. and I request to sir to start his session. आता तुमची स्क्रीन शेअर करा सर, केले तरी चालेल किंवा बोललं तरी चालेल. Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to all of you. I request Professor Approach Madam to switch on the mics of all the students.
Yes, they are on, sir. They can speak with you.
Okay. Good morning to all of you students. Good morning, Approach Madam. Good morning to all the fellow members. Honorable Sankla sir, Honorable Argade sir, and whoever have participated in this particular session. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. So we have been discussing and you have been participating in this particular course since Monday, that is 5th of July, and so many resource persons have interacted with you. Actually, I would also like to interact with you personally. So that's why I requested Professor Approach Madam to unmute your mics. So shall we start?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So you can.
First of all, I would like to know from your side, why do we speak? Why do we communicate? So forget that I'm trying to communicate in English. Just think for a while. Marathi, maybe in Hindi, and one of the participants from Kerala, she has her mother tongue Malayalam. So the question is, why do we communicate? So let me know from your side. So right now I am trying to communicate. You are also just trying to interact with me. You are responding me. In the morning session, Professor Dr. Autade also interacted with you. He tried to tell you something about friendly communications. So basic question is, why do we communicate? So why do we speak? Come on. So communication means everything. That is, writing is also a part of communication. It's a medium, it's a means. So similarly, speaking is also a means of communication. So let me know from your side, why do we communicate? So the mics are on.
Because we are humans, sir.
We are human, right? Very right. Means absolutely right. We are human beings, and that's why we have language, and language is a collection of words. Words are formed by using different sounds, and different sounds are brought together to make some words. Different words are kept in order, formed, and then comes sentence. Sentence should be meaningful, right? So that's why we speak. But see, when we communicate, we always set an objective. Objective in the sense, hetu. So why do we communicate? That is the basic question. So is there any person who like to share his or her views regarding my question? Please let me know from your side.
Sir, we generally communicate to seek information from other people.
Okay. Right. Exactly.
And
So come on. Yes, yes. Yes, Kartika.
we choose different languages because we might don't know some languages. Like I don't know Marathi very much. So I would like to communicate in English because to some extent I know that language.
Right.
So,
Right. So that's why we communicate. See,
yeah.
we communicate by using our mother tongue. Sometimes we use national language Hindi, sometimes we use English. But my basic question was about why do we communicate? We communicate. I'm going to let you know from my side. We always like to communicate because we like to create an impression. For example, I'm just trying to communicate and I am just trying to present my session. Why? Because I would like to create an impression over the views and opinions of my students. So that's why I'm trying to communicate. We like to impress the people. This is the first objective. And the second objective is always we like to persuade the people. So persuasion. Persuasion means mata parivartan. So for example, see, we just miss my uh, the topic is influencing people. We like to influence people. I am just trying to influence my impression. I'm just trying to create my impression. I'm just trying to influence all of you. Why? Because everyone, every human being like to create an impression, and that, for example, if I meet, suppose that the college hours are going on and you are in the campus itself and just you meet me in the campus and you just greet me, good morning, sir. And if I just neglect you, if I just ignore you, then what will be my impression over you? The impression obviously will be worse one, and you may also think that this person is a very rude person because I greeted him good morning, but he didn't respond me. So that's why that impression will last for some time. Maybe if I commit the same thing the next day, then definitely this particular impression will be consolidated that this person is very rude and he is rude always, all the time, for everyone, maybe his friends and family members also calling him rude one. So that's why, my dear friends, always we like to create an influence. So influencing people is the topic that we are going to discuss. So for example, there are so many situations and there are so many professions where
रेंजचा प्रॉब्लेम
just try to just try to remember. Am I audible?
येस येस सर.
Just try to remember your past teachers. You have been learning education. You are just in this particular stream of education since the first standard. Just try to remember your former teachers since the first standard until now. So you may come across those teachers who influenced your mindset, who just conquered your mindset, who just touched your sensibility, who just aroused your emotions, who just made you happy by using the language, who just made you to feel the tragedies in the stories. So that those teachers you remember always Why? Because there was and there is an influence of a specific teacher on your conscience, on your consciousness. So that's why you always remember that specific teacher. Whenever someone asks you who is your favorite teacher, you just name him or her. Why? Because he or she has an impression on your mindset, on your conscience, and you also like to imitate his or her style of communication, use of language, and the way he or she means the teacher speaks with you. So similarly, you remember a teacher, favorite teacher, until now also. Similarly, just there is a profession, for example, a lawyer. Who is considered a better lawyer in the town? A lawyer who is able to communicate, a lawyer who is able to interpret the laws, the acts according to the context, according to the case, according to the views and opinions and the problems of the client. That particular lawyer is considered as better lawyer in the town. So that's why that particular profession is also uh, related to how a specific lawyer makes an influence on his clients. So that's why if one succeeds to create an influence on the client, that specific lawyer is considered as a successful lawyer in the town or maybe in the district. Sometimes there are many people. For example, you may be aware of there are so many famous lawyers in Maharashtra. For example, Harish Salve, you may be aware of this particular name. He is considered as an international lawyer because he uh, took the case of one Mr. Zadav, who has been in the jail of Pakistan. Advocate Harish Salve advocated this particular case in international court and he defended him. So that's why Harish Salve, he is a Maharashtrian, his mother tongue is Marathi, but still by use of language, he has an influence because he is able to communicate the interpreted views of the law, the constitution. So that's why he has the respect. Now, one more thing is a doctor. There are so many doctors in the town. There are so many doctors you might have met until now. But which doctor is your favorite doctor? The doctor who is able to communicate, the doctor who is just try to console your problems, console your grief. That particular doctor is always very favorite to you. So that's why you just call him your family doctor. So that's why, my dear friends, influencing people is always very important professionally also, and also for maintaining the relations. For maintenance of relations, we always like to influence the people. So in the morning, in the earlier session, Professor Dr. Autade talked about friendly communication. Yesterday also, Professor Sandeep Dhore interacted with you regarding linking signals, and Dr. Shivaji Sheki also just talked about his views and opinions about agreement and disagreement. In the earlier session also, Professor Dr. Ganesh Sonone just tried to communicate with you his views on writing skills. Alka Madam also was better one, and also Professor Dr. Balakrishna Magade, Professor Dr. P.N. Gore. So in this way, you have an impression of all these people. Why? Because you haven't made these people in reality. The only person you made, maybe myself. So that's why you means keeping my side aside apart. I'm just trying to tell you the thing that you have an impression of all these resource person without meeting them. Why? Because the way they spoke with you, the way they interacted with you, the way they tried to convince you, the way they tried to persuade you, you have an impression. So that's why influence is very important, my dear friends. For example, I see the name of Nilakanta Gaikwad. He is a student and he is very smart one. He is a good speaker, and whenever there is a competition of elocution, he just participates and gives his views and opinions on the given topic. So that's why Nilkant creates an impression on the Nilkant creates an impression on the mindset of the examiners, and most of the times he comes with a trophy. So that's why, my dear friends, influencing people is very important, and we always like to influence the people. So see, one thing is very important. Whenever we meet someone, as told by Professor Dr. Autade, always we use our gesture, our body language, and that body language should be a part of communication. That is called as non-verbal communication. Non-verbal verbal in the sense, verbal means use of language. That is Shabdansa Vapar. Non-verbal means sign, language of sign. For example, if you meet if you see your friend across the road, you are at the other side of the road, and just he gives you a signal, or he if he calls him, hello Rakesh, and in that particular context, it is not possible for you to cross the road immediately and meet your friend. In that situation, you just wave your hand. Yes, hi Suresh, how are you? This signal means, yes, I saw you, and you just wave your hand with a smile. So your friend, that is Rakesh, who is across the road, he may consider as a sign, and you may, after crossing the road, you may meet each other, and probably you may have a cup of tea with each other. So that's why influencing people gives us so many things are there to share with. So if suppose that you just consider, just imagine this particular situation, you have friend across the road, and he just names you, hi Suresh, and you just you do not respond him. In that particular situation, the friend may consider you as a rude person. He may have different opinion. He may he may just forget what your relations were. So that's why a different sort of impression he may carry because of this your uh, gesture or body language. So that's why use of body language is also very important. And when we greet people, we have to be very what do you say? We use the tone very positively in order to make the people, in order to attract the attention of the people. So that's why, my dear friends, when we greet each other with smile. Good morning. With a smile
There
is
you are.
also a tonic.
नीलकंठ
a
माईक बंद
nectar.
कर प्लीज.
तुम्हीच बंद करा मॅडम. ज्या वेळेला
तुमचं
मी
पण
तुम्हाला
बंद
सांगेल.
होईल, मग तुमचं परत चालू करावं लागेल.
Okay. Please unmute. Okay. So in this particular sense, smile of a person is a tonic, is a nectar for the next person. So that's why smiling face is infectious, just like just like we have. If there is a smiling company, if there is a joyful company, if there is a pleasant company, then the next person may also feel happy, and he may be attracted to your personality, and he may or she may also carry a good impression regarding you in his or her mind. So in that sense, my dear friends, it is very important for us to in order to communicate with the people, we have to use very polite, very modest tone in some of the contexts. For example, if you want something from, if you want something to be done from your principal, maybe signing a bona fide certificate, or just if you need your missed mark sheet or the xerox of something. So in that particular context, you have to be very polite, and you have to use the request. And in some situations, we use commands. So uh, uh, that's why in this particular topic, we are going to see certain aspects of our communication. See, commands. Commands means in the sense orders. We generally call it as order. In Marathi also sometimes we use this particular word, that is order. मला order देऊ नको, मला हे करू नको, असं ते म्हणतो. Generally, commands are given by a person who is of higher rank. So that's why if someone is in the army, so he commands. If someone is at the higher post, he commands. If a teacher is in the class, he commands in order to control the class. So for example, see, your teacher enters the classroom, you stand up, you greet him. So that's a gesture of the students, which is always, again, very, very encouraging for the students to change his mood. So the mahol is changed when you greet the teacher by saying, good morning, sir, or good morning, madam. So in that particular context, the teacher gives you a command with smile. Good morning, all of you. Thank you. Please sit down. So please is used as a mark of politeness by the teacher. Sit down is a command, but please makes it polite one, and it creates a mood. Suppose that I enter the classroom, you greet me, good morning, sir. And if I just watch you with a rude face and without a smile, without using a polite tone, if I ask you, sit down, so that may create a different impression in the class. The mahol have, the particular surrounding may have, the particular environment may have a different sort of feeling in the air. Create an impression that the teacher or the principal sir is not in a good mood. So maybe you may obey all the orders and instructions given by me in the classroom, but probably the result in the sense, I'm not talking about the results of the exam, I'm talking about the output of that particular classroom. The class will not be fruitful one. You may not grasp it properly. So that's why commands are there. A person having the higher rank gives you the command. So just please don't consider it as you should be in the military, you should be in the navy, you should be in the army to give some commands. No. Person with higher rank, for example, the head of the family member. Suppose that your father is the eldest son of your grandfather, and if he is considered as the head of the family in Marathi, Kutumba Pramukh. So in that particular context, your father gives some instructions, and those instructions are always in the form of commands. So the commands always begin with a verb. So you may just on the screen itself, you may have some certain examples. Shut the door. If someone enters the classroom, and if I'm angry with the person, so you know that if someone has committed some mistake, if someone has insulted another fellow student, in that particular context, a person comes to me and means that particular student comes to me and he complains. So in that situation, I have to just to call the former student, and then afterwards I will ask him to shut the door. So without smile, I have to do it. Why? Because if I smile, then the complainer may have the impression that the principal has been managed by that particular student. So that's why situational tone should be maintained so far as commands are concerned, right? So if you are just trying to scold someone of the lower rank, okay, you are enjoying the higher position and you are just trying to scold someone of the lower rank. In that situation, you have to maintain the tone. Tone is also very important. Use of body language is important. So by using the body language and the tone, you can give the person a signal that you are angry with what he did or what she did. And if the class in the classroom, if one of the mischievous students is just trying to do the mischiefs all the time, so in that situation, a teacher may ask him to stand up, and if he is not repenting for the mistakes he has done, in that situation, the teacher may ask him to get out. So that's the command. So on your mark, you might have heard this particular command in the competition, in the 100-meter race, or maybe 400-meter race. On your mark, let's set go. That's the command. Sit down. So these are the commands. So just observe it. All the commands begin with the verb. So verb is used at the initial level. So suppose that sit down. Sit down means all of you sit down. And if someone raises a hand and asks a teacher a question, in that situation, he has to stand up and just answer the queries of the teacher. So in that situation, the teacher may ask him to sit down. So commands are always there. Commands are always there. For example, so far as your relations are concerned, your relations. For example, if some of your friend, close friend, very close friend, you have a close friend, and see, the closeness is always intimated by using the language that we use. For example, sometimes we use abusive words for your closest friend. Abusive words in the sense, Shiva. We use abusive words. Even girls also use some abusive words to address his or her friend. That particular use of language marks or symbolizes the closeness that you have. For example, in our region, means I hail from Sangola, and in that particular region, kadu is an abusive word. Kadu, the bitterness. So kadu is an abusive word, and kadu is used in different situations. तुले कोडय, कोडय म्हणजे खूप चॅप्टर आहे. तुले कोडय म्हणजे खलनायक असेल, खलनायकीसाठी सुद्धा कोडू हा शब्द वापरला जातो. But if one of my close friend approaches me, so I may just ask him, कुठे गेला होता रे कोडू? So in that particular situation, I use an abusive language. Madam, please unmute.
माइक बंद करा.
Hello.
हा बोला सर. केलं सांगितलं.
So I may use an abusive language, abusive word, but the third person may get an impression that they are very close to each other. So that's why they are just abusing each other and still having a cup of tea in the canteen, maybe in the restaurant. So that's why if there is a close friend of yours, very close friend, very close friend, so you just ask him, Ikde, come here. So come here may be an order. It may be a command given by a friend to another friend. That particular symbolizes, that particular use of language symbolizes the closeness between the two people's relations. So that's why commands can be seen everywhere. Use of words, that is a sentence which begins with a verb, that is always our order or command. And in this particular situation, we find who is using the command and in which context. And if the context is friendly one, two friends are together, commands are used, but with different tone. And in different situation that I told you, shared with you earlier, commands are always there. But you know that there are polite commands, there are soft commands are also. For example, if you want someone to shut the door, you may ask the third person that please shut the door. Shut the door, please. So please is the keyword that we use in this particular situation. For example, see, there is one more slide that you may observe. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful is a command. Okay, it's a polite one. So if someone is there and you are going to visit a physician or a doctor, you have some fever, and in that situation, the be careful, take care is a polite command given by a physician or doctor to his patient. So sometimes, suppose that you are just walking in the street and there is some obstacle or hurdle and you are not able to see that hurdle or obstacle, and because of that it would have been an accident. So that's why your friend, when he sees that you are going to struck that particular obstacle, so he may ask you, be careful, see that one, watch out. Suppose that there is a skin of a banana in the street, banana skin, kelachi sal, and you are just walking while just looking into your mobile, so you are not aware of the banana skin or the floor of the road. So in that situation, a friend, a very close friend of you, or maybe an unknown person may make you aware of the presence of the banana skin on the street. So be careful, watch out. Suppose that you are just crossing the road and suddenly a car comes very fast, faster than you expected. So in that situation also, watch out. Someone may cry at you. Watch out means see, bug. So these are the polite commands. Don't forget your mobile phone this way, please. So these are the things that we always see. So after commands, one more thing that is very important, that is request. See, if you ask me, what do you like to prefer, request or command? Requests are always better one, because we ask the hearer to do something willingly. That is request. Command is also the same thing. I want someone to do something, but not willingly, because I am saying so. That is why it is called as command. But requests are always there. In request, we ask the hearer, means the next person, to do something willingly. For example, see, just day-to-day example, I'm teaching the class, or maybe say one of the teachers is teaching in the classroom and you are outside the classroom. So what will you say? You may ask the teacher the permission, and that permission is always request for permission, and request is given. May I come in, sir? Means please allow me to enter in the classroom. So the tone is again important. If you ask the permission rudely, the teacher inside the classroom may have different view about your tone, and he may not allow you to enter in the classroom. So that's why request, will you pass the salt, please? You are just having a meal in a restaurant, your friends are there, you are chatting, and just suddenly you think that you need some salt, extra salt for your dish to have a good taste. So in that particular situation, you may ask your friend, will you please pass the salt? Will you pass the salt, please? So please is very important. So please and the tone makes it request. If after the college hours, you're not having your bike and you are in a hurry to reach Ambetan Chowk, in that particular situation also, you may need someone to give you a lift. So in that situation also, you request maybe a stranger who is from Rakshawadi or Kalus. So you may ask him for a lift. Can you possibly give me a lift, please? So if you are not having your pain and just you sometimes see, I used to carry the pen, but I just want my students to be in the classroom with their pen, books, and notebooks all the time, because these are the symbols of seriousness. It doesn't mean that I'm very mm, economical, or I'm just worrying about everything else. But my dear friends, it is very important for you to be in the classroom with your pen, notebook, and the books and your bag. But sometimes what happens, students, while writing the notes given by the teacher, students may may need a pen because of maybe some reason. He may need a pen. In that situation, some students very rudely just raise the hand and ask the teacher that, sir, pen. They just signal like this. So that is very rude of the students. You have to stand up. You have to request the teacher, sir, I need a pen. Will you borrow your pen, please? So in that particular situation, the teacher may have different impression regarding your request, and he may consider the request very seriously. So that's why you know that all the time, all the time we have to be very polite. So politeness is associated to requests, and requests are always useful. They are used all the time. And if we want someone to do something willingly, then definitely we have to use request. Uh, See, this one is the next one, advice and suggestions. Every day, you know that every day we give suggestions, every day we give advice, and every day, every time we always like someone to do something. And in some situation also, I may need some suggestions. I may need also some advice from other people. But when we advise someone, so the way we use is, it should be also very polite one. It should not be like that. We are just means I am just making a favor over him. मी उपकार करतोय या पद्धतीनं तुम्ही सांगू नये. तसं सांगितलं तर definitely the hearer may have different impression. He won't consider your advice properly. So that's why advice should be given properly, neatly, and politely. So politeness is the key to influence the people. For example, many a times students come to me and they ask me what should be done after the completion of the course, maybe BCom, maybe BA. So different choices I may suggest him, I may advise him. You should just try for the MPSC exams. You should try for the competitive exams. You should try to appear for the railway boards exams, banking exams. So many different advices always I like to share with my students. Similarly, the teachers, our teachers also give advices, different advices in different context to the students. So advice is always there, and every day we like to advise the people, the next person. Uh, See, it's a way to share your view and opinion. To have a different opinion is always a welcome sign, and the hearer may consider it as yes, it is a better choice. I should take it very seriously. For example, if a student comes to me and he or she thinks that I want to do my post graduations in Pune. So, sir, I have decided to seek admission in Modern College, Jangli Maharaj Road, Pune, Shivajinagar, from where Professor Alka Madam hails. Okay. So in that situation, I may think about your personality. I may think about your marks, your mentality, and obviously your financial condition, financial restrictions, and I may give you an advice. So instead of going to modern college, if your financial condition is not good enough, I may suggest you to seek admission for MCOM course in our college because we have better staff, we have different activities, and the syllabus is the same one. So that's why in that situation, I may advise differently. So that particular opinion, if a student considers that, yes, our principal is advising in a proper way, he may consider it very seriously. So that's why advice is always there, and advice, a proper advice, everyone needs a proper advice, always creates an impression, and it creates a different sort of influence on the hearer. Similarly, suggestions are there. See, advice is different and suggestion is different. I suggest we should catch an early train. So for example, you might have planned for a trek to Rajgarh or trek to Kalsubai. So we had different treks in the previous years. I also love to be with our students. Professor Kamble sir organizes treks every year, but unfortunately, due to this COVID situation, it is not possible right now. And also in the last year also, it was not possible. So that's why whenever we come together, we will just try to organize different treks. So this year we are going to organize a trek to Rajgarh. So, sir, I would like to suggest. So we should catch an early train for the trek because it's very huge one, higher one. Rajgarh is very intricate sort of trek. So that's why I suggest we take an early train. We take an early bus. We should start early. So this is the suggestion given by a student. So I may consider it as consider it very seriously. Yes, he is right. She is right. So suggestion is also there. Suggestion is also considered. Suggestion is also considered by the hearer. Why? Because suggestion also creates an impression. So it is very thoughtful sort of suggestion. So professionally also, teachers advise you, teachers give you suggestions. Similarly, lawyers give you suggestions. Similarly, there are rules and regulations. They are also in the form of instructions, and how to follow those are also in suggestive way. So for example, if you visit our library and you just want to read a novel, so you may ask your teacher, maybe teacher of Marathi department, which novel I should read, sir. So they may have different choice. So they may ask you your area of interest. For example, if you are interested in history, so your teacher may suggest you that you should go for Panipat. If your teacher thinks that you are interested in science, so he may suggest you to read the novel written by a scientist. So that's why it means he may also a different choice. So suggestions are always there. You just ask, and the suggestions are always given by the next person. So that's why we have different situation, different contexts. I suggest we take early train. You can finish your meal now. You might have look at this particular book. So in that situation, if your teacher is having latest novel written by a living writer, so he may give you that particular book. You might have a look at this one. You are interested to read a novel, so this one is for you. Just see, just read it. So that is a suggestion. That's a friendly and very warm sort of gesture given by your teacher. So the next thing is invitations. So invitations are always there. For example, so we are always invited. In the campus also, some of the students like to celebrate their birthdays. That is there also. Some students having a warm pocket or pocket full of money. They just like to celebrate their birthdays in the hotels or restaurants. So in that situation, you invite, the student invite, the birthday boy or birthday girl invite his or her close friends. So let's go for a party. That is an invitation. If you are in the canteen and one of your close friends is there, you see him and just request him, come and sit here. Come and sit here means come here and let's have a cup of tea. So these are the invitations in different situations. This is very small sort of occasions, but every day we invite. We invite, and invitation is also is important to create an influence. Suppose that you are in the canteen. Suppose that you are approaching the canteen and your one of your close friends is having a cup of tea, and if you go there and you find that the friend has turned his head to the opposite direction, so what sort of impression do you have about the friend? You may consider it as a rude sort of sign. So that's why that is definitely create an impression that your friend is not your friend does not want to be with you. So that's why in that particular situation, warmly we have to invite someone. Would you like to join me for dinner? This is an invitation. Please come to attend my birthday. This is an invitation. Please come to attend the wedding of my sister. This is an invitation. And you know that in India, in our culture, we have invitation cards, wedding cards. In the wedding cards, we find warmly we are invited to attend the wedding ceremony along with the delicious meal party. So that's why invitations are always there. We always means sometimes we find that during the Eid, our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, they invite us to have shirkurma and other sweet items at their respective homes. During the Diwali hours also, we invite our friends and well-wishers to have some farars and sweet and snacks at our respective home. The invitations also is a particular gesture that we use every day to maintain our relation. Our maintaining relation is also a priority. You see, create means we like to create a different new relation. Example, introducing yourself. When I meet the students of first year class, I may introduce myself that I am the principal, and I introduce, and during that interaction, I have my impression over the students, and afterwards, in order to maintain the relation, always I like to use all these things in a manner. So that's why we have invitations. Warnings. I warn you. Warnings are also important. See, for example, warning means sometimes, see, this particular word is used as a threat in Marathi language. मी तुला वॉर्निंग देतो असं बऱ्याच वेळेला भांडणामध्ये म्हटलं जातं. ड्युरिंग अ फाईट, ड्युरिंग अ quarrel, we use this particular term in our Marathi conversation also. But see, warning, see the example, mind. Mind means if you are about to strike your head to some obstacle, then your friend may warn you, watch your head, mind your head. तुमचं डोकं थटल बर का, वर लागेल तुम्हाला, यासाठी वॉर्निंग दिली जाते. बी केअरफुल ऑफ युअर क्लोथ्स. बी केअरफुल मीन्स into the bracket, be of your clothes. Be careful means, for example, if some sheet is there, bird sheet is there on the chair, and you are just without knowing that there is a bird sheet, and you are going to sit into the chair. So in that situation, if your friend finds that there is some bird sheet in the chair, and you are going to sit into the chair, so in that situation, he may warn you. Be careful. Be careful. तिथं घाण आहे, पक्षाची घाण आहे, त्यामुळे तुम्ही सांभाळून राहा, असा तुमचा मित्र म्हणू शकतो, तुम्हाला वॉर्न करू शकतो. दॅट्स sort of friendliness that we observe. For example, unknown people also, the unacquainted people also, during the journey hours, while traveling also, they also warn us to be careful from the pickpockets. There are certain warnings written on the walls, written in the form of warnings. For example, if you are to visit some shrine in the sense Devastan or maybe mosque, so there is always warning given over the wall that be careful from the pickpockets. Be careful, be aware. That's why in that particular context, we find warnings are also always there. Promises. Promises is an assurance. Promises is an assurance given by someone to the next person or the hearer. I promise to lend you my bicycle, but not now, tomorrow. So promises are always there in order to assure the hearer. Sometimes what happens, we have to give some promise to the hearer in order to maintain the relation, in order to encourage him. For example, sometimes some incentives are also given. If you do it, I will give you some chocolate. A father asks his daughter to do something. If you just paint it properly, if you draw it properly, I will give you some chocolate. Means I will. Means I promise you that if you finish it, this is conditional promise. If you finish it, I will just give you some chocolate. So I promise that I will complete my homework tomorrow. It is not possible. It is not possible for me to complete it today because I was busy. I was occupied. So that's why I will do it tomorrow. So that's why you promise your teacher that I promise, sir. खरंच मी उद्या करेन. I will do it tomorrow. So promise is an assurance given by someone to the next person. Always we use promises, and I just ask the students that when you promise someone, I ask you to keep the word. That is very important. Otherwise, the next person may have different sort of impression about you. So that's why promises should be kept. Promises are always made. That's why promises is a sort of trusted assurance. Trusted assurance. It is a trusted sort of assurance given by the speaker to the hearer. And next one is threats. Threat in Marathi, it is called as dhamki. Dhamki. The warning is different. So warning we saw, threat is different. I'd like to share my view about threat. An anecdote. When I was a boy, during the school days, I used to share a bench with my friend. So for a year or two, we had the same benchmate. The same benchmate that we had because during the school days, the teacher would allocate specific bench for everyone. So that's why we had a close friend to share a bench for the whole year. And sometimes what happens, we had some differences, we had some fight. So in that particular situation, he may draw a line. He or I may draw a line. A line is drawn. A line is drawn. And everyone has to keep the distance. If I cross the line, which is drawn over the bench, the friend may warn me, you dare cross the line. So you could use book. That is a threat. When we were boys, we used to play the game, Dhakka Lagi Bukka. If someone touches me, I would give him Bukka. So Dhakka Lagi, you dare touch me. So these are the funny situations when we find the threats. But threat is always there. You dare touch me. If you are fighting seriously, if there is a fight, serious fight, in that situation, to हात तर लावून बघ, that is a threat. To खोटच बोलून बघ, father scolds his son or daughter. Don't you dare tell lies. To खोटच बोलून बघ, मी तुला दाखवतो. हे दाखवतो वगैरे असतं, हे धमकीसाठी असतं. And in sometimes our father scolds Why? Because he or she, your mother maybe, he expects you to be better person, to be a better human being. So that's why the threats are given, some threats are given by your parents. So in that particular situation, threats are welcome. But when you are going to fight an unknown person, a gunda, so in that situation, the threat is very serious one. So I just suggest you to stay away from certain people of some certain mentality. Uh, so with this all, this is almost over. So I just want to recollect. So influencing people, my dear friends, you should have an influence. Influencing people means we should always create an impression. Always we like to persuade the mindset of the next person. And in that situation, we use language. We use commands, but polite commands should be preferred. The tone should be maintained. We use requests. Requests are always better ones. The request, and don't forget to use please. Don't forget to use sorry. Don't forget to use thank you. So thank you is the specific word. Sorry is the specific word, and please is the keyword. So these three words are always beneficial for you to keep you a very mm, keep you in good mood. So that's why I just ask my students to use the language in order to influence, create an influence over the people. Thank you very much. I urge you, means I request Professor Madam to switch on the mics so that the students communicate me. Thank you.